We had the community correction system, and we also had the mental health system doing the correctional. We had the county attorney system, and we had the police systems all keeping data in different ways. So while it sounds very simple when Jim said, well, we're data driven, well, yeah, we are, but you have to have data that you can in fact use, and we didn't have it up front. Now we have a system that everything goes in, and we can generate that stuff. When you see items from 2005, it's because people had to go back in and actually count case by case in order to get their statistics so that we could see if we were making a change. It doesn't seem like a big deal, but for someone who likes to see numbers even though I can't add them, it sure was nice to understand that everyone was talking and understanding what we're doing. Sarah?
Yeah, well, I think also one of the big changes is actually in transparency, because this information isn't just used internally, it's offered to the community. So it allows the community to get more engaged and increase their understanding of what's actually happening. And I think that's something that had not been going on prior to JDAI. And in addition, it also allows us, one of the principles is to target interventions. So before we were kind of making wild guesses about what kind of intervention a youth needed. And what we know now is that the more data you have, the better you can target an intervention.
What it is that you don't spend a lot of resources on low-risk kids. You put more of your resources on high-risk kids. And hopefully you keep them both out because you're getting services to the kids that need it.
And you know, we should mention that that was a very big thing, being able to bring that data together, bring people to the table who could represent the different components of our large system so we could talk together. But we also needed some support to do that. And in addition to the Juvenile Detention Alternatives Initiative through Annie E. Casey, we have been supported by our Juvenile Justice Advisory Committee at the state level, and also by a foundation that came to the table to help. Otto Brimmer. Sarah was working with them as a fellow when she began working with us, and they have assisted us also to get some of the resources to do that.
We've got about 7-8 minutes left for this segment of the program. Thoughts, comments, what's next? I mean, we've come a long way. Our numbers are going down. I don't think the intent was ever to get them down to zero, but we were hopefully going to get the percents to be more reflective of the population. And I don't know if we have a chart showing the different populations in Ramsey County and what it means with us tonight. But where are we going next? What do we have left to do?
Well, in my mind, the big challenge is really moving the whole JDAI initiative towards it to focus and be targeted on working on eliminating racial and ethnic disparities within our system. To me, that is the one core strategy of JDAI that most jurisdictions, from what I understand, really struggle with. I'm very encouraged by our percentages, our recent percentages, and I think we need to be very, very intentional to make this recent moment in our percentage turnaround to make that a trend. So that would be my thought on what's next.
Diana, from a judicial perspective, what do we have to do?
Well, I think one of the most important things for judges to realize is that there is a disproportionate impact on our children of color versus, and actually perhaps adults of color too, in the court system, and be aware of it and pay attention to the police reports and pay attention to the arguments of counsel when they're trying to bring this to our attention, but also to keep looking for new alternatives and be open to new alternatives that are suggested by the detention center or probation or whatever else comes across our plates.
You know, maybe rightfully so, but I think there are many more resources and programs available for kids than for adults.
I agree.
But adults, we expect them to kind of find it on their own. And if they've been using drugs for a long time and they're 25 years old, they've been using drugs for 10 years, they're really standing before you as a 15-year-old. It's just the way with brain development. But there is a great opportunity to export it into the adult side and say, are we making decisions that are impacting minority communities? Sarah, where are we going next?
Well, I think the whole focus really is going to be on reducing racial and ethnic disparities, and that really requires community engagement. And I think for anyone in the audience who feels passionately about the issue, I would suggest that there's a website where JDI Ramsey County can be located, where you can find information about the initiative, when meetings are, requests to begin to participate in the process. And we also have a newsletter. But we're also going to have a forum in October for the community, and we hope that people will participate.
And offhand, do you remember what the website is?
I think it's JDAI Ramsey.
Ramsey, JDAI.
Ramsey JDAI.
.org.
Or you can call one of your county commissioner, because they're going to know how to access it. And we didn't get a plug. We'd give a plug for all. Maybe we'll get there when we go. But Jim's next. Where are we going
The
next?
disparities is the key issue now, and the encouraging data that we've seen over the last quarter. Ramsey is actually one of the few sites who have been doing this long, and it's 4 years now, that has actually matched a percentage decline in the youth of color in the system with a raw number decline. I don't want to bore people with why that's so difficult to do, but it is. And the county here has been able to do it.
Tony,
This is
you're going to be
big
one of our
work.
drivers, along with the other board members. What's
many
next?
have already mentioned that this is really, really big work. And it's not just about corrections. It's not just about detention, adult or juvenile. We want a community that's healthy and well and prosperous, and so we want our children to have the opportunity to be so. So whether it's public health, where we see great disparities, or workforce, where non-working parents have a real impact on children, or education, we want to continue to stay focused on the work that we need to do to assure that every child, every family has the opportunity to succeed.
And if Judge George Stevenson was here, who's now the presiding judge in juvenile, he would hit very hard on the employment piece. We need to get our kids ready for jobs. You know, when you tell them to get their good clothes on, they show up and their pants are down to their knees. They've got the oversized shirt and they've got a hat that's half cocked. That's the best they have. But walking into a job interview is probably not the best way to go prepared. We need that. We need to find job opportunities within the private and public sector for kids. Russell.
I guess I would, it's all been said here, but I would like to see us just do a little bit more work in involving and informing the community and what is happening here, and I think it would develop trust, and I just think that's where we need to go.
And I'll plug the Ramsey County Board, because we have stayed focused on prevention. It's a difficult thing to do during these times. But
Plug them with the names.
Pardon me?
Plug them with actual names.
Oh, okay. Our board chair is Jan Parker. Victoria Reinhardt, who actually in her doctoral work did a study called An Ounce of Prevention, Taxpayer Dollars Saved Through Crime Prevention. Rafael Ortega, Tony Bennett, Janice Redman, Jim McDonough. Who have I left out? I think that's everybody.
I think you got it right.
And so I think in addition to our broad community, we do want to say thanks to our county commissioners.
Well, I want to thank Jim for wisdom of selecting Ramsey County. I think it's been exciting as a judge. I came out of a kind of a community involvement background as a local official. This was one of those opportunities where I actually had the opportunity to go out and work with the community, because as a judge, you're a part of the community, but you're always looked upon as kind of standing off to the side. When you can make an impact that changes how things are done, it's very exciting stuff. To the county board, I mean, to have a unanimous board, that board has a lot of different interests, but they've gotten behind this. And then community corrections, I mean, you took over for Frank, who was a early pusher on this, and we haven't lost a beat. Russell, I mean, I still almost cry when I hear that story, because you didn't talk about the crimes, and I don't want you to. You didn't talk about whether your grandson was adjudicated or not. But Sarah, everyone, thanks for being here. This was a great program, and thanks for giving up your Friday night.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.